I mean, we grew up in a single family home, with a lot of needs and scare more so on the mentality side of things, right? Of a scarcity mindset, um, family that had just immigrated to the United States. So there wasn't much ambition. There wasn't a search for truth, for meaning, for purpose. None of this has been a monetary pursuit. It's all been to be a better me, a better us, and how we can positively impact the community and people that surround us and leave a legacy. I think a big word for us was transcend. With our father, we've worked hand in hand. We started this process around 6 years ago, and it really started with just being a better person and preparing ourselves to be a good man. That was our intention, and the entrepreneurial side of things kind of just caught up to us, and now it goes hand in hand with our personal development, with our spiritual development, and our self-awareness. And I think that's definitely been the pinpoint of the growth that we've been able to have, and it's materialized into physical and material achievements, but we definitely focus on the interior, being a better us every single day, getting to know ourselves better, and that just the interior work that you do reflects on the exterior world. That
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well,
Right.
well
yeah,
said.
Well, I think one of the things that I've learned through entrepreneurship is that it's really it's a personal development vehicle, right? It's a way to work on yourself because you're really getting out of your comfort zone and you're pushing yourself to your limits, and then that requires a different mindset. It requires resiliency. It requires discipline. It requires all these aspects where you have to become a better person, like you mentioned.
absolutely. And I mean, the story goes back to when I was 10 years old. I was mowing lawns in Texas, doing roofing, cleaning pools, um, irrigation. Trailer homes are set on cinder blocks, so I was carrying cinder blocks around all day. So I've been grinding, I've been hustling, and I would be mowing lawns, and I'd kind of be thinking to myself like, "Hey, I can't be doing this the rest of my life." There's nothing wrong with it, but where does the development come in? Like, where does the growth begin to happen, right? And I was 14, 15 at the time, but college wasn't always it did I mean, the educational traditional system, especially in the United States, wasn't always appealing to me. I didn't fit in with it. I couldn't force myself to abide by the rules and the system in place. It felt like at the time it's really hard whenever you're a young boy, and you just feel this rebellion and you feel like you don't belong. And especially, I mean, I went to like four different high schools, five different elementary schools, like moved around a lot. So I think that gives you some culture shock that you're kind of like, "Hey, what's normal? What's not normal? Where do I belong? Where do I not belong? Do I need to belong somewhere? What happens if I don't belong?" Like, all those different things, put me in scenarios that I search for something, right? So the traditional educational system, I mean, I barely graduated high school, had to go to summer school to graduate high school, started college, and still felt that resistance of not finding passion. So I think that that's really what I intended to search for my whole life, but never did a teacher sit down and try to understand what it was that I was searching for. Or it's until my dad, I told him, "Hey, like I don't like school. I don't feel like it's taking me where I need to go. And the end of the day, I'm going to graduate and be in debt and then come out and then what, search for a job and retire when I'm 65 and then be happy off of 401k." Like that just didn't sound right to me. I felt like there was something out there that we could search for, that we could find, but there would be some risk to it, but our parents have held our back and fully supported us in this process. And that's been key to us being able to just jump into the void and have the love of our parents that helps us and guides us every single day.
That's really cool. I have a very similar story with my upbringing in the sense that I knew there was something more. I didn't want to follow that traditional path. But for me, entrepreneurship was never on my radar. Starting businesses, I didn't really care about making money, and I think that's because I had a different family background than yourselves,
Mhm.
also from Southern California,
Yeah.
and I just went traveling instead. That was my way of jumping in the void. I was like, I don't want to. I don't even want to know where I'm going to sleep tonight.
Right.
I just want to have trust, surrender myself to God, to the universe, and find the strength inside of myself to be able to do it. And so now I'm coming full circle. I did all that. And then now I'm coming back to, sounds like where you were at 19 years old. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, now through entrepreneurship, the internal journey lessons can start materializing in my external reality.
Yeah, I think everyone here's, sitting at his table is kind of similar story. Just kind of look at the path that's put in front of you by uh, mainstream culture and society, and you're like, you start to realize pretty early on that, hey man, this feels like like a little bit of a scam, a little bit, like you said, I got to go to school, I got to get in all this debt, then when I get out of school I got to go find a job to pay back the debt, and it just feels like a big rat race. And that's also something that I realized early on, in addition to learning how the money works, and that I was like, you know what, I have to find a different path. There was also the 5 hour work week, right, that came out, where it was just a different way of thinking.
I think it was the 4 hour work week, right?
4 hour
Tim
work week.
Ferriss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
A short amount of hours work week. Yeah.
yeah. And so, so that also helped me with my mindset, where I was like, oh, I don't have to, go the traditional route, that there's other options available for me to be successful as well. And so, yeah, I started pursuing those avenues as well. And it sounds like that's kind of what you did as well, right?
Yeah, and back to the first question, due to the experience, I mean, our mother was the janitor at the school where we went, so
Mhm.
that's kind of like where we started. And I would observe around me, and I had friends like driving BMWs at 15 and like wrecking that car and getting a new one. And my
Oh,
mom could barely pay off like a Nissan Sentra that was like 13 grand at the time. And I mean, it was just like asking myself, what is it that we don't know? What is it that my family hasn't done, that they haven't applied in our lives, that we're in this situation? Because I at some point realized that it was a result of something, right? Like it was the final equation of a lot of different things summed up. So I was like, how can I change those things? How can I find those things? But the transitioning point for us was whenever I did find what it was that my passion was, and that was at the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills in Los Angeles. I started there as a busboy, and finding tourism and hospitality, and especially the brand Four Seasons, is what completely changed my mindset and put me on a passion trip. I mean, I would work there 16 hours a day, 17 hours a day, not worried about the money, never worried about the money, but just being there and the vibe and providing that five-star hospitality and service to people from all over the world. We would have the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, all kinds of celebrities, baseball teams, basketball teams, soccer teams coming by. And it really allowed me to see into another world, and that's kind of what I searched for as a kid, to be able to see all these different possibilities and people living a different way. And it really put things into perspective to me, and see the amount of work that it required to be successful. So I think that that's been important for us, because at our young age, it's not always simple to, sacrifice and be all in on your mission, on your plan, and on your objective, right? But I mean, we're all in. We're 24/7, 365. Christmas we're working, New Year's we're working, Easter we're working, Thanksgiving we're working, any day
So
we're
where
working.
did this work ethic come from, do you think?
I think it comes from not having the things we wanted to have as a kid, and seeing our mom struggle, seeing the scarcity that we had. It definitely built a mental fortitude that we would talk about it as kids. Like, hey, when we're older, we have to work hard to do this. We have to work hard for mom to be able to retire her. We have to work hard for all the things dad has done for us. So and we continue. I mean, this is beyond ourselves. I think we're just an instrument that God is using to bless a lot of people around us, and create employment. We have 15 employees now between the hotel and Azteca, and I could have never imagined that. So I think giving to the world without waiting for anything in return is definitely where the most abundance comes from, because the less you need, the more happy you'll be.